And here I was looking forward to another exciting day of boredom when Super Sentai came to my rescue. Hooray. So, as of this recording, I've still only seen one episode of Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger, and I'd like to make an addendum to a video that I made earlier. It turns out that Tigerlance does have posable shoulders and posable hips. I was mistaken on that. The head still does not turn, the mouth still does not open, but the tail does move. So it still doesn't really, like, there's still a small part of me that kind of wants it just because it's kind of neat by itself, and it's got rocket engines on there, jet engines on the in the heels. It's kind of neat, but I don't know. It's just it's the whole parts forming thing that I'm just not happy with. Look, people, look. I I respect parts formers, and but just I've never been exposed to them, or not that I haven't been exposed to them, but just that's not what I'm interested in. Parts formers is not my thing. It never really has been. Lego is one thing, but a parts former is something different. A parts former is a pre-made shape of particular that when combined turns into a robot. Well, you've got a bunch of little parts that are all pre-made, as opposed to Lego where it's just kind of you come up with whatever you come up with. So in my mind, building blocks and parts formers are two completely different things, okay? That being said, Super Sentai has never, ever, 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 ever traded on parts formers except for Go Buster. And, you know, that's the reason I liked it. That's the reason I like it. So when I say I don't like the Ryusoulger mecha, it's because I don't like parts formers. And Kishiryu-Oh by itself has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joints on it. And that's just not acceptable. Because what mode can you make on the Kishiryu without taking something off and putting it somewhere else? And the answer is you can't. The arms, okay, look folks, this is not a transformation. If your arm is, or if your kibble is ordinarily up here and you fold it down, there's nothing here. There's no anything opens up. There's no. If it looks like an arm when it's back here, and it looks like an arm when it's here, and it looks like an arm when it's down here, chances are that's not a transformation. That's just moving the arm from up here to down here. Oh look, I am transformed. I am a robot in disguise. You can't see. These are not arms. These are radar towers. Yeah, that's what these are. These are radar towers. You'll never tell the difference. Oh, look out. Oh, transformation incoming. Wait, whoa. Now I'm a robot in disguise. You see the difference? So, like, block formers are unengaging. Parts formers are unimaginative. Parts formers, you're just taking it from here and you stick it over here. Yes, there are plenty of other toy lines outside of Super Sentai that use parts forming, and that's fine. They're welcome to that. I like. It may not be my thing, but I'm not gonna demand that parts formers be banished from the planet forever. That's not at all what I'm saying, folks. I'm just saying parts forming does not belong in Super Sentai because until Go Buster, parts forming had no place there. Now, I've got no problem with parts formers. Other people are welcome to buy parts formers. They're welcome. You remember Microman? I don't, because I never bought any of it. And I should point out, combiner kibble is also different because that's combiner kibble. That's combiner stuff. That's just how that particular subgenre of toy mecha works. Okay, that's fine. You know, I have a number of Combiner Wars figures. I've got a number of Transformers G1 combiners, and they both have combiner kibble. I've got no problem with that. But that's combiner kibble. And that's in addition to the fact that you have to take this part, and you don't take it off, but you just move it to this position. Even if it's 1 or 2 steps, that's acceptable. Look at G1 Mixmaster. How does it transform? You extend the cab, you turn it, and you push it back in a little bit. Done. There's your leg. And Power Rangers... yeah. Oh, yeah, fine. Power Rangers. Power Rangers and Super Sentai are filled with 1-steps, okay? But I still value transformation, taking more than one step. If you need to open a door in order to get this thing flipped out and then close the door back down, that's fine. As long as it doesn't look like... Closest example. Okay, so there's this bullet fighter here, and it can't actually do this. That's not a transformation. You see the difference? How did that pop down? Like, this may very well be a vehicle that's created by combining two smaller vehicles. Okay, fair enough. This may be a vehicle combined by two smaller vehicles. Okay. But this is not a transformation. You're physically detaching the thing and putting it somewhere else on a pre-made connection point. Like I said, this does not have the connection, but it's the closest example I've got. And yes, even a couple weeks later, that is still hard as hell to get that in and out of there. So parts formers, I don't care. But parts formers is not what got me interested in Power Rangers in 1993, and it's not what's kept me interested since I transitioned over to Super Sentai in 2004-ish. Well, I found out in 2003, but I made the transition in 2004. So that's where my beef is, okay? Because like it's never been present. But the thing that just drives me batty is everybody saying, Ava, it's so original, it's so creative, you could do whatever you want to. Yeah, I can do whatever I want to with Legos. But you don't see me buying up tons of Legos and making my own robos where you have to take every single piece apart and then reassemble it. That's a completely different thing. That's a building block. That's a completely different thing from a parts former. But Ava, it's dinosaurs. It's one of the most creative things that Super Sentai has ever done. I don't see it. I don't see it. But Ava, it's dinosaurs. Yeah, we've had 3 previous series dedicated to dinosaurs, and I have no problem with combining dinosaur mecha into giant robots. There's an anime series that came out a number of years ago. It's already ended at this point. It was called something Gosar or something like that. And here are the pictures over here. And those are neat. I want to get those. In addition to parts forming, which they do, they also transform. Even if it's just taking a leg and folding it in here and then moving this joint around and then attaching it, that's a transformation. That's acceptable. And oh, by the way, it's dinosaurs. I wouldn't mind getting some of those toys. Model kits, I prefer pre-built and pre-painted and all those things. So, yeah. But yeah, the Gosar stuff is great. But we've had dinosaurs before. In fact, the first season of Power Rangers, the one that got me hooked, was dinosaurs. And yes, absolutely, when I was watching Jurassic Park, I would take out everything except the Mastodon and except the Saber-Tooth Tiger, and yes, I absolutely would roleplay with them. That's what every kid at that age did when Power Rangers first came out. Everybody did. And we even had a frickin' Brachiosaurus to recreate the scene where the Brachiosaurus sneezed on the girl. Yeah? So, I got no beef against dinosaurs transforming into mecha. I really don't, and I still want to get Volcanicus, god damn it. So that's not a problem. But A, they're using dinosaurs as a hook because hashtag tryhard mode, and B, they're using parts formers because, well, what's the next step after a block former? Well, if you can't get them to transform, let's just make them of individual pieces. Let's not use ingenuity of levers and doors and wedges and all those other things that we enjoy so much. Let's absolutely not do that in favor of just take it off of here and attach it here like a fucking Lego brick. I like Legos. I don't like what they're doing with the Ryusoulger stuff, okay? So, with that rant out of the way, that 10 minutes, 15 seconds rant, so I think this technically counts as third wave material, but I'm not entirely certain about that, considering the second wave material was only 2 pictures. Well, it was 3 pictures. It was that chain sword, for lack of a better word, that reciprocal saw sword that they used, which is kind of a neat thing to look at. Like, it's, what are the horns for? Clearly you pull the thing back and then the things go, it's like baby's first chainsaw. When you get little 3 or 4 year olds, they get a little chainsaw. It's about this big. It's got sounds in it. And you pull on the wheel, and it makes a noise. And you squeeze the trigger, and it goes, that kind of thing. This is basically that, except without the electronics, except for noises. So, and then you actually attach the thing as a bayonet to the other thing. Why can't I click on this? Which is a Gatling gun of some kind. Which how the thing extends and the fins flip around, and it's like this close to me being interested in it, but it just feels, I don't know, like well, I suppose I'm being unfair because like I usually don't uh, pay a terrible amount of attention to the role play stuff. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. So this is going to be an example. This gun, whatever it's called. What is this thing called? The Mosa Changer. So it's a gun that is your henshin device. Which didn't we already do that in Kyoryuger? Just saying. Whatever. Um, so the Moa changer, or Mosa changer. I'm sorry, the Mosa changers. Probably something I'm gonna skip. And then the sword thingy, which is the Mosa blade, is it's okay by itself. It's not very much, but I don't like the way the things connect to each other. Like I would have preferred. I much preferred the way the Kyoryuger their gun and their sword, the two combined to each other into like an actual rifle that you need to hold with both hands. That was a neat thing. I enjoyed that, and God, I wish I'd gotten one of those, one of each of those. Yeah, I looked at the Power Rangers version and just well, the Power Rangers version had a blade that lights up, so that was a nice thing. But kind of the main reason I didn't get it is because I didn't want Samba and I didn't want stupid generic fill in the blank sound effects from the Bandai America version. So. Um, so like this version, it's just you just kind of attach it to the bottom, and again, no transformation, none. You just or you slide it on, and that's it. So there was that thing, and then the new, I'll say third accessory vehicle. I don't know what is this critter called again? Daima Volcano, which is a Dimetrodon, which I'm told Dimetrodon is not a dinosaur. It actually predated dinosaurs. Maxilla, I hope you're not wrong about this because I'm about to commit to the entire internet with this. So. But anyways, Daima Volcano, its flames, and what the fuck is that combined form? Really? Look at this. Look at this over here. Look at that down there. What is? It's got two swords, which is fine, but the two swords are different. Okay, whatever. And then it's got a big chest cannon thingy. Again, okay, whatever. But the head is put on upside down, I think. Yeah, the head is actually put on upside down. So that giant crest on the top of the head is actually down by its belly. Why they would do that, I don't know, but they did. The mouth does not move. The legs do not move. It's basically a brick by itself, and then you take it apart like a brick. And then, are those supposed to be over-the-shoulder cannons? Because, like, two swords and two over-the-shoulder cannons, well, okay, but not like that. And, oh, wait. And, oh, by the way, I should point out, wait, is that true? I haven't looked at this in detail for a while now, so please forgive me. Okay, so it's got, okay, so that fin that I was talking about on the top is now down here, and then it's got drill tits. This thing has drill tits. And it has two swords, and it has two, I really hesitate to call those over-the-shoulder cannons, because what the fuck are those things? And then the two little guns, I don't know where they probably stuck those in the back or somewhere, or I don't even. The fact that they have to, it's like, well, where are we going to take these things? And just sit them off to the side. That's not combiner kibble. Just so no, I'm not going to get this thing, and the two weapons I just discussed, no, I'm not going to get them. So Yeah, I mean, I didn't bring it up because like I didn't have anything constructive to say about it. It's like the two role plays by themselves, they're okay. When you combine them, it's a disappointment. Yeah, so that's why I didn't do it. And it's only 3 pictures. So that's why I didn't bring it up. But anyways, today, what is this? March or no, this is April 10th, 2019. We got some actual mecha stuff involved here. So I'm going to start with Toku Nation, and it says Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger Quarter 3 catalog images released. Multiple new Kishiryu revealed. Um, I think I said it earlier. I hesitate to call it Quarter 3 just because those 2 handheld weapons and that mecha that I was talking about doesn't really is not really in my mind comparable to an entire wave all by itself. So I'm inclined to think that what I'm about to see here, and I only see thumbnails. I haven't looked at it in detail, obviously. Um, like all of these together are going to be wave 2. So that's how I view it. Let's see. So, Toku Nation. The first images from the next wave of Kishiryu Sentai. Remarkable new entries for the Dino Knight Super Sentai! Exclamation point. Highlights from this new catalog include the personal Kishiryu of the 6th Ranger, Ryusoulger. This newcomer is a Mosasaurus-based figure called the Mosa Rex. It's a Mosasaurus, but they're trying to mix it with a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Why? Already you're interbreeding. Why would you do that? Mosa Rex can combine with the previously revealed Daima Volcano, which we just discussed, for a battle combination known as Spino Thunder. And, you know, if Daima Volcano was interesting, you know, I might give a damn about that surprisingly awesome name. Mosa Rex also has a unique battle configuration, Kishiryu Neptune. This mecha is armed with a pair of mini drones known as Ammo Knuckles, which appear to be based on Ammonites. Oh, Ammo Knuckles. Okay. Okay. All right. So it's kind of like Max Ryu-Oh, which technically the axes and the head were their own individual Bakuryu, but they were all sold as one, and they didn't function by themselves. You know, they were very clearly combiner kibble and weapons, but you're supposed to treat them as individual animals, dinosaurs. So that's basically what this is doing. Kishiryu Neptune and Kishiryu-Oh, that's not going to be confusing at all, can combine to form the strongest Dino Knight yet, Giganto Kishiryu-Oh. But Gold's Kishiryu aren't the only newcomers this time around. A pair of Velociraptor-based Kishiryu will be introduced. They are known as Shine Raptor and Shadow Raptor, with a combined form called Cosmo Raptor. The Raptors. Now, keep in mind, I was like, oh, that's interesting. The way they combine with each other, and then I remembered, oh yeah, they're parts formers. So I was like, and then I'm like, ugh. So that's what I just. Cosmo Raptor. The Raptors can combine with Kishiryu-Oh to form new weapons and appear to grant new battle armor form for Ryusoul Red, which is a thing. Congratulations, Super Sentai, you've successfully moved into the realm of try-hard battleizers. You experimented with Lupin v. Pat, and now you're doing it for real. A Pachycephalosaurus-styled Kishiryu rounds up the lineup, named Pachygaru. I don't know what Garu means. Isn't Garu a onomatopoeia for a roaring sound or something like that? Combining with Kishiryu-Oh unlocks powerful punching attacks. Last but certainly not least is the movie-exclusive mecha. This is a black and gold reissue of Tiramigo with a new dragon motif, officially titled Kishiryu Jin. Definitely some exciting times ahead for Super Sentai fans. You know, they're fucking cock teasing us. They're really cock teasing us because all the indications coming up to the series was it's going to be all dragons, and then those who actually speak fluent Japanese said no, Ryu actually means lizard, or giant lizard. So Ryu would actually be a reference to dinosaurs. And so when the hype of all dinosaur disappeared. Now all of a sudden they're teasing us by bringing an actual dragon in here. And it's a repaint. I'm sorry, it's a remold and a repaint of a mecha I'm already not thrilled with. So, let's take a look at the actual pictures. Let's see, maybe I can make this bigger. No, I cannot make this bigger. Wow, that looks really neat. If only the pictures weren't covered. Well, I mean, this is first wave stuff, so whatever. Yeah, this is killing me. Oh, looks like the head splits open, and then the robo head is in the middle. Okay, that's interesting. It's going to make for a very interesting transformation, though. If it wasn't a parts former, like I'm supposed to look at this and enjoy it as a parts former, I have to keep reminding myself, oh yeah, it's a parts former, it's a parts former, it's a parts former. So just. And I have the squeakiest of chairs. Okay, that comment that I made a couple of minutes ago about reusing armor, or you know, the try-hard battleizer thing, I forgot that that's already been established because they do that with the various Ryusouls. You know, they insert it into the sword. I'm sorry, you don't put it into the Ryusoul changer. You don't put it into that for some reason. You use your sword. Here's my question: why do they even have this if all the action's going to be happening with a sword? You know, why did they even bother making the changer when it's just going to be this? Why not just blatantly use the sword? I bet your Power Rangers gets rid of this thing. Oh, they can't, because it's like, maybe this is used for mode changing and then this is used for power-ups and special attacks, but on the other hand, it might, like, if they were not in such try-hard, if Bandai Plex and Toei were not in try-hard mode right now, they would have had some way of getting the sword and the changer to actually talk to each other wirelessly. You know, if they're within a range of about 6 or 7 feet of each other, then they can, you know, what you do to one influences the other one. You know, that would be if they're both turned on and they both have batteries. Why wouldn't they be turned on if the batteries aren't in it? See what Ryusoulger's doing to my brain? So like yeah, that would be interesting. Or you bring it into close proximity, you know, just like they did with Gingaman, with the Lights of Ginga, where the sword actually had a magnet on the inside, and when you brought it close, like, you ever wonder why it is that they always posed with their swords like this when they were doing their power-up? It's because there was a magnet inside that arm brace. There was a magnet and a little sound effect thing. So when you brought the sword over, it would match up with the magnets and the accessory pieces that you attached to the... Oh gosh, I forgot what it's called. I forgot what their swords are called. Anyways, those attach-on parts had a magnet, and so the reason they always brought their swords over here like this is so the magnets could talk to each other, and then it would make the arm bracelet or whatever it is would make a new sound. So I'm kind of thinking the same thing here. Why didn't they do that with the sword and the wrist and the brace, and just bring the two together and then they make a noise? That would have been acceptable. As it is right now, you've got a whole bunch of complicated electronics over here, you got a whole bunch of complicated electronics here, and they don't necessarily say the same things, even though they're going to be interacting with the exact same toys. Talk about a conflict of interest. You know, which one is it? So anyways, from this very tiny picture, let's see, are there any other... Is there a bigger picture? Oh, there is. The very next picture is a little bigger. Okay. Lazy. And more combiner kibble, because why not? Oh! Okay. Those those dino arms. Why did I... You know, let's see. I'm doing this backwards. There we go. Now I can see what I'm doing. Let's see. What did they call it? Spino Thunder. That's what I'm looking at right now. That's the first thing I noticed is Spino Thunder. Which definitely is a different way of doing things. It's also, in a peculiar way, it also takes care of your... Oh my god. Is that your combined form? Do not tell me that's your combined form. Do not. Please don't tell me that's your combined form, please. Okay, that's not. I'll get to that in a moment. Oh my God. What am I looking at here? What am I looking at? Oh. Oh, the fin on the spino, or, is it spinovolcano? Splits apart to form the chest. So where do those come from? Those are that, which are... That's your combined form? Why is your combined form so tiny down there? Where'd the feet go by there? Oh no, the feet are still there, I think. Yeah, they're still there. That's your combined form? That's your super combiner? Really? Not that it isn't parts forming already, like, okay, whatever, but... Oh. I was starting to get interested in, what's this called? Kishiryu Neptune. Kishiryu Neptune. That's what it's called. That's a sword and yet not, which is weird. They call it a trident, but it's not. That's not how a trident works. But that combined form, it's not even. You see, having combiners leave parts behind, that happens. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of like, hey, look at this giant monster of a thing I've got here. Just disregard everything else that's been left behind. You know, you're just supposed to ignore it, and yet at the same time, don't forget that it's there, or else somebody's going to step on it or sit on it or whatever. So, like, whatever. But when you're very, very selective about, I only want this piece, and this piece, and this piece, and this piece, this piece, this piece, and we're just going to put those two together, and then we're going to come up with a thing. And then you leave the vast majority of those two sets behind. That's what's happening here. And that is the problem with parts formers, is that, and this is something that, if you want to look at Q-Ranger. Q-Ranger was innovative because it had the scramble gatai thing, okay? So that was acceptable. That was a new and interesting thing. But the two combined forms that they came up with afterwards that involved more than Q-Reno. Like, if it was just Q-Reno and you do the scramble gatai, you can put all 9 mecha together in whatever combination you like. That's all well and good. But if you want to add a second robo into the mix, the best you could do, because Q-Reno, or the Shishi Voyager, was such a brick. I mean, it was, and I said it at the time. Because it's such a brick and it doesn't actually transform or anything, the best you can hope for is just to take the second robo and either wrap it around or just attach it to the back. Or just attach it, you know, or take it apart and attach it in different ways. That's what ended up happening with, what was that form called? Ryutei Kurino. Ryutei Kurino. You can put whatever limbs you want to on the thing, but the core, the thighs, the chest, the head, the shoulders are all one piece. They don't move. They don't transform anyway. They just are. And so the best you could do is just to take this and slap it on the back. That's what Ryutei Kurino is. It's just taking one and slapping it on the back, and that's it. And all that this part does is it just stands up on tiptoes and you swap the helmet. And even then, it was, no, it wasn't even a helmet swap. It was a fucking useless friction pins that it still pops off easily. That's one of the reasons I don't have it displayed that way. It's because that damn thing with all the vibrations in the house, it's going to fall off every single chance it gets, and I don't want to climb up 7-8 feet or whatever it is to get to it each time. So the exact same thing will happen over and over and over when you don't get involved in transformation, when you don't have pieces that come off and transform and then attach in this fashion. If it's just a block and you're attaching it to another block and neither part has a moving function to it, the best you're going to be able to get is you can attach it this way, 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 you might even be able to attach it this way. But neither part is going to transform, and the appearance of them is not going to change, and it's going to look bulky and awkward every single time. This is the flaw of parts formers. This is the flaw of parts formers. Now you've got to bring in block formers, which don't transform at all, and it's basically the same thing. No matter which way you attach them, it's still a block, and it's still not transforming. You know, it's not attaching in any fashion. It's just a block. It's just two pieces of plastic that just click together by whatever means, and that's it. So I'm looking at, what's this called again? Giganto Kishiryu-Oh. And how did they do that? How are the... It's just knee pads, blocky feet. You attach them some shit to the forearms. You attach some shit to the shoulders, and the spino, was it spino volcano? Just the back fin spreads apart and attaches like that. And then undoubtedly there will be a Ryusoulger that you're going to attach into the head. So it's just Kishiryu-Oh with more stuff attached to the outside. I should point out, for this combined form, none of the other accessory mecha are used. None of them, except for Spino Volcano, but that's a kind of a different thing. This puts into mind, let's see, what would be a good example? Or it reminds me of, what was that called? Go-Rai Senpujin. The only way you can make Go-Rai Senpujin is, yeah, you have to take the Go-Rai Jin apart and then attach it in different fashions. By the way, not block formers, because they actually do transform. Okay, so they actually do change between the different modes. It's not just you split the two halves and then you just attach it somewhere else. You actually have to flip the arms into position. You have to flip some levers and stuff around. Okay, you actually have to do transform things. But the only way to complete Go-Rai Senpujin is not just with Go-Rai Jin and with Senpujin, but you also needed Furaimaru, which specifically forms, well, it forms a mask, and then it forms the fists. So in order to complete that, you have to have the Furaimaru. I want to say Minizord so badly, I'm so sorry. So, you know, that's what the Ryusoulger going as the new head is going to do. But here's the thing. The pink, blue, black, and green, the other four Rangers, are nowhere to be seen. You're bringing in a completely different accessory mecha, which is not blue, pink, black, or green. So you're bringing a completely different one, which basically pushes all those aside, so you don't even... These are just going to sit off to the side. And you've got this new accessory mecha, which is literally front and center, and you're just attaching it to something that's already a block and already can't transform, and then you're just taking small bits off of, what was it called? Kishiryu Neptune. You're just taking small bits off of Kishiryu Neptune, and not even the whole body. Like, I don't see the splitting jaw thing, I don't see the torso, I don't see the legs, I don't see the arms, I don't see the shoulders. I'm not entirely certain what makes up the knees, but basically you're going to have Kishiryu Neptune. It's just going to be a big clump sitting off to the side, and you're just supposed to ignore it. And you're taking a little bit here and a little bit here and attaching it to Kishiryu-Oh, and that's your combined form. And you know what? I don't even, like, I might not be able to see the detail of exactly which part goes where, but I've already figured out how it transforms. I've already figured it out. If I buy this thing, and there is a price, 4,500 yen, or maybe it's 48. It's a little difficult to tell. So that's 4,800 yen, and then you might be able to buy Kishiryu Neptune and Spino Volcano. You might be able to buy, or I'm sorry, Dimetro Vulcan. I think it's Daimo Vulcan Volcano. I think you can get those as a paired set. So it's like Ryuteo from Kureno. It's like that. So you could buy the Voyagers individually, but you could also buy Ryuteo as its own set, which is how I got it, by the way. So it's kind of the same thing here. You can get Kishiryu Neptune separately, and you can get Spino Volcano. No, not Spino. Daimo Volcano separately. You can get those in separate boxes, or you can get them together in a single box. That's what it's saying here. But Kishiryu Neptune, it looks okay, but I mean, by itself it's not bad, but the two combined forms it makes, I'm not convinced, because it's just parts for me. There's no transformation. There's no transformation whatsoever. I think the only transformation, having seen it for the first time, and these pictures are relatively small, the only transformation might be the head opening up. And even again, that's just a mouth. That's just a mouth that's opening up. That's standard level articulation. You're just opening the mouth. And then you put a thing on the inside, and that's it. So, and then you're taking those two, what are they called? Ammo, what are they called? Ammo knuckles. You're taking the two ammo knuckles from under the flippers, and you're attaching them somewhere else. I can't see where they are. There's no challenge. There's nothing interesting here for me. I'm not. It's not transforming. You're just taking something off. You stick it here. You take something off of here, and you stick it on here, and that's it. It's a parts former. There's nothing imaginative about this. Original, arguably original. Arguably. Because it is true, Super Sentai has never done this before. But on the other hand, Super Sentai has been leaning a lot on brick formers for at least 9 years. Because it started, let's see, when would brick formers would have started? Around roughly Goseiger. Roughly. Yeah, because I don't count Shinkenger, so it would have been Goseiger. That's when the real brick formers started happening. And I made the comment in that CDX video, that review that I made for Gosei Great. I was like, this is a brick former, and I have no appreciation for it. And then we've got, what are you called? Wild Tosai King. That's what I've got. I've still got Wild. Yes, I still have Wild Tosai King. Again, bricks. You collapse it down, and then you attach it here. It's not even that the thing transforms and attaches in a different way, and it's not even that the thing comes apart. It just collapses down, and then it attaches. But there's nothing that wraps around. There's nothing that's, the exception. No, there's no exception to that. And even Tosai Juo, the rhinoceros thing, that in and of itself is a brick. You just take this, which is poorly attached, you just take this and stick it on the top, and that's it. And then you put a brick here, and a brick here, and a brick here, and done. It's not a transformation. It's like a prelude to parts forming, but they're bricks. And so this is more or less the same thing. With maybe the exception of, how do those? The legs on Kishiryu Neptune, the legs might telescope at the thighs. It might. But the head, yeah, it looks like the head is on a ratcheted swivel. So the head ordinarily looks this way, You know, the jaw ordinarily opens in this fashion, but it's still attached. Dare I say there's an actual rotation joint in there. It might be, they might just be lazy enough that you take the head off, you turn it this way, and then you reattach it. They might be lazy enough. I'm not entirely certain. I hope not. So I'll assume for the moment that the head rotates on a dedicated joint, and then it splits open. That may very well be the only actual transformation on this whole thing. Everything else is take it from here and attach it, and maybe telescoping thighs for the transformation. That's it. That's all it does. The entire rest of it is... Where do the arms come from? I don't know where the arms of Neptune come from. Where do the arms come from? Because the trident is the tail. Where do the arms come from? Are the arms made up of the ammo knuckles? Maybe. Maybe. It's difficult to tell. But ammo knuckles implies it's just the... Oh. Oh, I see it. Okay, alright. So... the arms do not disconnect. Well, they might disconnect. It's difficult to tell. But again, it's... Well, no. Let's see. How does this work? I'm now going to do this live. I'm going to figure this out. The head is going to... The dyno head is going to pivot 90 degrees, and then it's going to open up, and you're going to put a dedicated Ryusoul in there. And then the ammo knuckles... Yeah, the arms are ordinarily like this. On the Mosasaurus, the arms are the animal mode or the dino mode. The arms are ordinarily like this, and then you've got the head. So the transformation is going to be you fold the arms down, you split the legs apart, and when you split the legs apart, the tail comes off. You attach it to one of the arms, and then the ammo knuckles. That's kind of a funny name. I'm not certain. Maybe it's like punching bullets or something like that. The ammo knuckles, which I can't see. Oh yeah, the ammo knuckles are separate. There they are. The ammo knuckles just form the actual fists themselves. Congratulations, Ava Unifor. You just figured out the transformation just from looking at it and making a few safe assumptions. I just figured out. The arms fold down, the legs split apart, the head rotates and opens up. That's it. And the rest is parts form. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't be offended. But considering... Oh, by the way, okay, so now that I've made that amazing accomplishment, let's see if I can figure out what's that thing called? Hiccups in the Spinothunder. That's what I think of. So Spinothunder is the Spinosaurus that's not a Spinosaurus, apparently. Let's see, how does that work? You know, that very well may confirm my theory about a rotating head joint, because it looks like you just turn the head 90 degrees. The legs stay in position, the tail stays in position. So really there's no transformation whatsoever. I don't quite see how the ammo knuckles fit in there. Oh, the ammo knuckles form the feet, and then Daimo Volcano's entire side torsos come apart and they form hips. They attach to the hip guards. Or no, they attach to the... Yeah, they attach to the thigh guards, because there's actual thigh guards in Kishiryu Neptune. You can see it on either side. The gray stuff is there. So that's where the legs attach. And then you attach some stuff to either side, and that's it. I just figured out 2 mecha just by looking at these 2 pictures. And again, making safe assumptions. You take something from here, you stick it here. What's the only actual transformation involved here? I'm not entirely certain what where the arms for the Demetrosaurus. I'm not entirely certain where those arms are coming from. But I think it's fairly safe to say, oh, they are the arms of So how do they get rid of those fins? Because the fins are pegged on, aren't they? I bet you those fins are pegged on. Okay, so the arms are actually attached to that fin on the head, on the crest, on the head of the Daima, or yeah, the Daimo volcano. That's what they're attached to. And the arms don't move, the legs don't move. The only thing that moves is the heads. The head will be open and close, and that's it. I think it's safe to say that's how it transforms. It's just part swapping. That's all that it is. So the only actual transformation involved here, the neck twists. That's articulation, although in this case it's transformation. And then the thighs extend. Yeah. So I just figured it all out. But then the entire body of Kishiryu Neptune. I want to say Kishiryu-Oh. Sorry, I've trained myself for the last 3 months now to say Kishiryu-Oh. Now I've got to say Kishiryu Neptune. So the whole body of Neptune gets discarded in order to mate. Was it Giganto Kishiryu-Oh? You got this huge chunk just sitting off to the side. And if you want an analogy for how frustrating this is, take a look at Kyutamajin. Take a look at Wild Tosai Dodeca King. You've got large pieces just being set aside in order to just use the small pieces that don't even transform. That is what our super combiner is going to be. And I should point out, no green, no pink, no blue, no black. Not in that particular order. None of those accessory mecha are used in that. And if they are used in a combined form that I'm not seeing here, it's just going to be more part swapping, and it's going to look even uglier than what is here. That's it. The challenge is done. There's nothing interesting for me. I've already figured it out, which means I don't want to buy them because that looks bad. That's not. It's okay. That's the Spino thing. The Daima. What they call it? Daima. Spino Thunder. Aside from having a good name, I actually do like that name. Spino Thunder. There's nothing engaging there. Now, Kishiryu Neptune by itself, it's okay. But I kind of feel like it's, what are you called? Daikaio. Where in order to transform, you just take stuff off and stick it somewhere else. And even then, you're not really taking anything apart. I think it's safe to say that Kishiryu Neptune, the only things that come off are the fins, maybe the fins of the Mosasaurus. Those might come off. I don't think the entire arms... Yeah, the arms do disconnect. And I think that's it. I think the arms, the fists... Yeah, that's all that comes apart. So what you're going to be left with when you make Giganto Kishiryu-Oh is pretty much the whole thing over here except for its arms. That's its arms and its head. Oh shit, the head comes off. No, the head disconnects at the waist. I completely missed that. Or I overlooked that. Okay, so the head can come off at the waist. So when you form Giganto Kishiryu-Oh, you're just going to have from the waist down, and yeah, it's going to be from the waist down, it's going to be set aside. What are you going to do with that? I don't know, just leave it over there. No one will notice. And yes, I have a really squeaky chair. Kind of looks neat by itself, but when you take into account everything else it's going to be doing, not so much. Okay, so moving on. Here's the two Shine Raptor and Shadow Raptor, and they combine to form Cosmo Raptor. How do they do this? Wait, do those only have one leg each? Oh, Cosmo, or not Cosmo, but is it Shine and Shadow? Yeah, Shine and Shadow Raptors. Shine forms a sword, and Shadow forms a gun. Okay, but what are those separate modes? And why would they combine with each other? I'm immediately brought to mind Jetfire and Jetstorm from Transformers Animated. Where they just kind of they transform and fold themselves in half and then they smack together like this, right down the middle. I feel like that's how it transforms. And then I think what these things are is it's just a wedge. It's just a thin wedge. And then you take one arm off of here and you stick it on the other side, and then it just forms a thicker arm. And then you take this other one, and again, you take the little arm off, you stick it on the side, you slap the two together, and that's it. You've got your Cosmo Raptor. I think I just figured it out. Okay. Okay, so all right, okay. So you take the arm off and you stick it on the shoulder of the other arm. You take the leg off and you stick it on the hip of the other one, or on you attach it to the thigh. So rather than having a single thigh, or instead of having a single leg attached, now you have two legs attached in the same place. So it's just a single block like this. You take the arm off, you take the leg off, and then you do the exact same thing to the other side. You slap the two together, and that's it. So parts forming within parts formers. I don't think there's any transformation involved here. Let's see. I think the head. Yeah, I think the head's attached to either shoulder. The tails, or I'm sorry, from the waist to the end of the tail becomes the weapons, whether it's a gun or a sword, doesn't matter. And I think something attaches to the forearms. I'm not certain what. Maybe. Oh, yeah, it looks like the legs attached to the forearms. Yeah, where do the arms go? I don't see the arms. Okay, I'm liking the combined form more than I am liking them separately. Ugh. So Shine Raptor and Shadow Raptor. Okay, I kind of like those. How much are those? 3,200 yen. And then you have to buy the Ryusouls for them separately? Really? Why not just include them in the set? That's lazy. That's really lazy. That's milking your consumer. What in the hell is this? Oh, this must be the Pakigaru. Pakigaru. Which just forms a pair of boxing gloves which attach in a fashion I'm not familiar with, because this is a drawing. This is not a photo of the toy itself, so I don't know how they attach. Although I think it'd be fairly safe to guess that. Let's see. Yeah, it's difficult to say how these attach. Where do the legs go? I don't know where the legs go, but it's got a rocket engine for a butt, and this amuses me. It's almost like it turns into a motorcycle, kind of, because it looks like it has a saddle near the base of the tail on the top. Looks like a motorcycle, but I don't see any obvious wheels. I'm not certain how that transforms. Okay, so I like Shine and Shadow Raptor. Those are kind of nice. Okay, like I know how they transform, but they just look nice. Am I going to do the combined form, which is Cosmo Raptor? No, I'm not going to do the combined form. It's easily forgettable. But this Pakiguru, I'm not really feeling that. Even though it's the picture is only this big on my screen, so it's not very big, and it's a drawing. It's not a photo. So I probably want to look at that a little. I want to see that in more detail. And the last one is Kishiryu, which is the repaint. It's a samurai repaint. Yeah, it's a samurai. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that Kishiryu a little more. Again, the transformation aside, it just, like, visually, it works for me a little better than Kishiryu-Oh. The kibble for the shoulders is integrated a little better, slightly better. I might be inclined to get this version more. And this is the movie exclusive, so how much is it? $5,500, so about $55. I'd be inclined to get this more than I would Kishiryu-Oh now that I know it exists. And I mean, like, I don't want a repaint of Kishiryu-Oh. I have no desire for that. But this is a neat way of doing a repaint. And we're supposed to believe this is a dragon because why? You know, I can tell you already the jaw is exactly the same. So the only thing that's new on this thing, aside from the weapons, which are part of the shoulders might even be remolds, or might even be just repainted. I don't know. It's difficult to tell. They might be. I'm not sure. Yeah, because those turn around. You see, this is how amused I am by Ryusoulger, by these Kishiryu, as I'm yawning. Like I don't care. My God, is that a pink bubble animal? Or balloon animal? That might be a balloon animal, and that's kind of, yeah, it is. That's a balloon animal. That's a dinosaur balloon animal. Why? I don't know why. Maybe because they use it to lift their enemies up into the air. That's a balloon animal. And then what is that? Maybe it's a dagger? I wouldn't be opposed to a dagger. That'd be kind of a neat thing, and I have no idea what that is. Is that a big ear? I can't tell. That's a pink balloon animal. That's a pink balloon dinosaur. Why? Why would they do that? That's a pink balloon animal. Yeah, I'm more interested. Anyways, yeah, running out of energy, running out of steam. That is, what's it called again? Kishiryu. I'm kind of liking Kishiryu. Just like the changes of the color palette is good. The new top half of the new top half of the head, just because the jaw is identical to Tiramigo. It's exactly the same. So the only thing they're molding is the top half. That got remolded. The shoulder bits, the hands, and then there's a new Ryusoul. But it is, I mean, it is a remold, so that's allowed. That's acceptable. But I like the color palette, and I like the head design a little better. That looks like an actual dinosaur, or not, I'm sorry, that looks like an actual dragon or whatever it is. Although I'm not entirely certain what those fins are for. That's different. And the head looks appropriately samurai-ish. That, yeah, I could go for that. You know what I could do is get this. Oh, you know what I could do? I could get this, and then I could get Shine and Shadow Raptors. Shine Raptor, Shadow Raptor. That's what I could do. And then call it good. That might be kind of neat. Is there anything else? Let's check if JE Fusion has anything different. Nope, they've got the same things, just different versions of the pictures. I'm not even going to talk about the armor that the Ryusoulgers are wearing. Like, that's just kind of a thing. It's a battleizer. I'm so tired. What is this? Why am I so tired? What's going on? That's because I'm unamused. Let's see, are these pictures any bigger? Nope, they're the same size. And is this any bigger? Nope, it's the same size. Is this any bigger? Nope, it's the same size. Kishiryu Neptune is vaguely interesting. It looks kind of neat. I kind of wish they'd done that with the. It looks kind of neat. I can live Kishiryu Neptune. That's nice. The combined form, Giganto or Giganto, Kishiryu-Oh, that's crap. Um, the Shine and Shadow Raptors, I might get those. Like I know how they work, I know how they operate, but like, they're pleasing enough to the eye that I can do that. And then Pakigaru is, I'm not really being inspired by that. And then the weapons are meh. I don't really care about the weapons. I don't care. So of the three new things that were announced here, two of them might be interesting. And even then, only with Kishiryu Jin. I could rework that. So like, okay, I might get that. That looks interesting enough. How much is, let's see, Hobby Link Japan, I summon thee. How much is Kishiryu-Oh by itself? It's just, it's $50. So Kishiryu Jin, which is the repaint, is like $5 more, approximately $5 more. That might be worth it. That might be worth it. You know, sometimes a repaint does it for me. Sometimes a repaint does it. And a good example of this, I didn't think when I said that. You know, I'll just do it this way. A good example of that would be Big Power GV IMS. Like the original version, yeah, that's all well and good, but I preferred the repaint more, the darker, kind of slightly grittier repaint. That's what I preferred. So, you know, sometimes it just takes a repaint. Am I gonna get a regular Big Power GV, aside from the fact that they're already sold out and the scalpers have already done their thing? Probably not, because I've already got one, and I preferred, like, when I first saw Big Power GV, I was like, you know, it looks neat, and the functions it does are really great, but I kind of wish they changed the colors. Well, they changed the colors, and I liked what ended up happening. I know, dark versus black. I wasn't really thinking about that. But anyways, like, a repaint is exactly what I wanted. And it worked for me. It worked for me enough that I got this version instead. So for Kishiryu Jin, maybe that's what it takes. It's just a slight tweak, a slight remold, and then it works. And I kind of like what the swords. I kind of like those two little critters. What are those two critters called? It doesn't say what the two little critters are. Yeah, it doesn't say what those are. So you're probably not supposed to pay attention to them. Which, okay, that's probably acceptable. Although one of those critters has green eyes and one of them has red eyes. They're very, very tiny, but I can see them from here. One is painted just the eyes. The only difference between them is they're both gold, but one of them has green eyes and one of them has red eyes. That's the only difference as far as I can tell. Which is a nice little subtle thing. I can live with that. And then the swords will be of an appropriate length. That, like, okay, I can live with that. I might go for Kishiryu Jin, and then I'll get the Raptor. What are they called? Shine and Shadow Raptor. Like, I could do that, because it'd be kind of a samurai dragon with a gun and a sword, and then as backup he's got a pair of swords. You know, so maybe I could do something like that. Find some stupid place to peg those swords in. I don't know where, but I'm sure there's a way you can do it. Maybe peg them in on the side of the knees or something, or maybe peg them in on the back of the shoulders. Maybe that's a possibility. Or maybe just reorient the shoulders. You know, take this block off, turn it in this direction or whichever direction. Take it there, and then put the swords so that the swords are actually sticking out backwards away from the shoulder. So even though the arm is oriented this way, the sword would be pointing in this direction. I could do that. I think I could make that work. So sometimes a repaint is what it takes to get me convinced in something. Now, there's still parts formers, and I'm still not happy about it, but Kishiryu Jin gets rid of one of those blocks. And it kind of gets rid of the ridiculous color scheme, and it hides the blockiness, or I'm sorry, hides the parts formeriness slightly better, just enough to kind of, because like when Tiramigo and Kishiryu was announced, I was like on the fence about it. And I saw it and I was like, nah, I don't like it. But this is kind of like, okay, let's try Tiramigo again. Okay. All right, I can accept that. So I was already on the fence when I first saw it. So one went one way and the other went the other way. So I may very well go for this version. That's entirely possible. An hour, huh? I might trim this down a little bit. There's a little bit of redundancy. Goddamn balloon animal dinosaur. Why? Just why? If this show was a parody, like the Ninja, like Car Ranger, like Akiba Ranger, it might be acceptable. But this isn't. Although considering how stupid the one girl character, I can't think of her name is, considering how stupid she is, that's probably why she's there. So yeah, I'm not going to be getting any of those. Although that does kind of look like a dagger. I could live with that one, that green colored one. It's not even a dinosaur. It's not even identifiable as a dinosaur. It's just kind of, it has teeth and has an eye and then it's got an interesting crest. That's all that that is. So, eh. I'm not gonna get any of the role play and yeah. By the way, pink, blue, green, black. None of those are. I don't see any of them in any of these combined forms. They are nowhere to be seen. Oh, I could put. Um, I could put Tiger Lance. I could put Tiger Lance on Kishiryu-Jin. That might work. I could live with that. Yeah, but then I'd have to add the arms. I'd have to add the blue and the pink ones. I'd have to think about that. Well, let's see how good. I'll chew on that when I'm done here. Parts formers. I don't like parts formers, and I don't like block formers, and this is doing both of them. All right. So with that, this is AV Unit 4A saying thank you for tuning in.